What's up guys, Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. Today we're going to talk about the rotator cuff and more importantly, the top 5 myths when it comes to training this muscle group. And right off the bat, let's start with myth number 1. Is it the muscle group or is it the muscle? You see, people call this a single muscle. And as a matter of fact, my grandfather, God rest his soul, he called it the rotator cuff. And then other people call it the rotator cup. To clarify, it's the rotator cuff and it's 4 muscles that contribute to the function of this entity. Now, I will tell you this, we're going to ignore one of them. And the reason why is going to be led to the fact that we're going to talk about the other 3, and we're breaking out the muscle markers to do that. Now, why? Because it makes it really easy to understand the function when you see them back here. To understand really even where these are in the first place, all you got to do is start with the black line here, and that is the spine of the scapula. And it really names itself. Everything is really easy once you have that grasp. And you can literally grasp it because you can reach over the back of your shoulder and grab onto that bone and hook your fingers under, and you know you're on the spine. From there, if you just roll your fingers upward just a little bit until you roll off of that bone, now you're on the supraspinatus. Supra meaning above, spinatus meaning spine. You're right above that spine. There you go. There's the supraspinatus. Now this is the muscle that gets all the attention because it's the one that tends to get pinched the most because it's the closest here to the shoulder joint. So when we raise our arm up, it can be pinched right here, what they call impingement. So now the next one, the infraspinatus. Grab that spine again and you roll downward. Now here's the big green area here. That muscle is the same thing. Again, right below, they're both acting to externally rotate the shoulder. Okay? The third one, the teres minor, starts a little bit lower on the scapula and it rolls all the way back up again to the back of your arm so that it too can also influence external rotation. So now, what is the one that I didn't talk about? That leads me to myth number 2. You should train the whole rotator cuff. All right, internal rotation, external rotation. Well, the one I left out is the subscapularis and it sits inside. I can't even draw this one for you guys. It sits inside my shoulder blade on the inside and it actually internally rotates the shoulder. Well, here's the problem with that. We spend so much time getting work on our internal rotators that's what's causing the problem in the first place. If you're somebody that's a rehab candidate right now because you've already injured your rotator cuff, likely it's because it was too weak and being dominated by the internal rotation. So that now what you have is this great imbalance. So what do we see people do all the time? They come here, they grab the band, and they do this. And I'll show you from here actually, you can see it better. They do this. Internal rotation all the time, all day long. Now why? Again, it feels good, number 1, because this is strong already. Doing internal rotation doesn't really hurt. But trying to flip that around and do external rotation here, that way, that's weak because those muscles that externally rotate the shoulder never get enough attention. So you ditch the internal rotation because you're only contributing more to the problem that you already have. Thirdly, the next myth we talk about is you don't really even have to train this area because it gets all the work it needs just from your regular training. That's wrong. You don't get enough external rotation in. The external rotation component of very, very few exercises is usually dominated by the fact that a lot of other muscles, and most importantly your delts, are really dominating those movements. So I like to do a high pull where I pull the dumbbells up and I externally rotate my arms as I go up, as opposed to an upright row. However, even on that exercise, the delts are definitely doing a lot more of the work, and they're also contributing to this dominant, imbalance between the deltoid strength versus the rotator cuff. So unless you're really focusing on doing the rotator cuff specifically, you're not ever going to train it enough, and you need to specifically hit it with exercises to do that. Now, number 4, the empty can exercise. We're going to talk about exercises. How many times have you been told to do this? Maybe you're doing it right now. If you are, please do me a favor and stop doing it. They tell you to turn your arms this way, okay? Turn them like you're pouring out 2 cans. Then get your arms about 45 degrees in front of your body, here. Now, we come up, we lift the dumbbells, we come up that way, and then we come down. Now, from somebody that already has a little bit of a shoulder issue, especially if you're in rehab right now for your shoulder, this is going to kill. And why? Because this is a bad position for your shoulder. It is anatomically a bad position for your shoulder. This is what will cause impingement because we're internally rotating. We're clearing less room inside the shoulder joint here so that when I try to elevate it, I can't even do it without hitting, likely, the acromion, which is creating a lot less space in there and already, aggravating an already inflamed tendon that's in there. So we look at that exercise and we say, but the EMG studies say that it's the best thing you can do. It maximally activates the supraspinatus. Great, the EMG study is not matching up with the biomechanics and the anatomy of your shoulder joint. So this could be the best thing you could do EMG-wise for activation of the supraspinatus, but the worst thing you can do for actually causing more problems in the first place. So you need to understand the difference and not just do what EMGs say, but do what your body's telling you. So what you do? Easy. You just flip them around, make it the full can. So you come here, you come in this plane, which I've already talked about a lot of times, is a better plane for your shoulder anyway. It's more natural because the shoulder blade sits more forward, just like that. So if my arm moves in the direction that the shoulder blade sits in, then I'm actually doing a really good, really the glenoid, the ball and socket, the socket sits more forward like that. So I'm able to get a more smooth up and down motion here. So full can, not empty can. And then finally we have a myth where people say, oh, just use the same weight on all of your rotator cuff exercises. This one always puzzles me because, again, you have to understand the function of the rotator cuff. If it's external rotation, realize that you can do external rotation a lot of different ways, okay? We can do it the way we normally see it, which is elbow in and tucked into the side, and then move my arm out to the side. That's external rotation, okay? We could also do external rotation with my arm up high. So from here, now I come up that way, external rotation. Okay, more in a 90-90 position. A little more difficult here. We could also do it across our body. This is an internally rotated arm here. I can come up and across my body that way. Now I've externally rotated my arm. I don't even have to get into full external rotation. I'm just going from an internal rotation to a more neutral position, and that's external rotation too. So we're up here like that. All these different planes of motion, even this, we can go on our sides here, right, like this. And we can do side lying right here. And you probably see people doing this all the time also, okay? All this is external rotation, but I'll tell you this, we're not using the same weight. That'd be like saying use the same weight for squats, deadlifts, bench press, tricep extensions, and bicep curls. That's not the way you do this. Now, I'm not saying there's going to be a great variation in the weight that you're using because these are small muscles, but you might use a 5 on one, an 8-pounder on one, a 12-pounder on one, a 10-pounder on one. Make sure you're challenging yourself in trying to fatigue these muscles because remember what I said in the first place. Your problem is likely a lack of strength. If you want to build strength in these muscles to start correcting that huge imbalance, then you better start working on building strength by challenging yourself with weights that would cause you to increase your strength. So there you have it, guys. I hope you understand the rotator cuff a little bit more. And as I said in the beginning, if you're going through rehab right now on a rotator cuff injury or surgery, you're going to want to make sure that you go back and watch this a couple times because as a physical therapist, it's always something that I take with great care and passion here on this channel is to make sure you're aware of your own body, empower yourself with your education so that you know what you can do, and it's not always in someone else's hands. If it doesn't feel right, it might not be right for you, and now you might be able to do something about it. All right, guys, if you're looking for a program as you get healthy, as you get back into it, or if you're looking for a program that actually places a high priority on the rotator cuff in the first place, so that you're not winding up with these imbalances, I build it into all of our regular strength work. You can get that over at ATHLEAN-X.com. It's our ATHLEAN-X training system. In the meantime, if you found this video helpful, leave your comments and thumbs up below. Let me know what you want me to cover here on this channel. I'll do my best in the days and weeks ahead. All right, guys. See ya.